Hi there, this is John Drew from Elevated Planet bringing you the Twiglet Zone. This time we look to predictions for the year ahead, and indeed the years ahead, because for the next 3 years we will have a leap year every year. Yes, you heard me. Quantum leap years. Life will never be the same again. This is very weird stuff, but this is, after all, the Twiglet Zone. Fantastical stories accompanied by a savory snack. So these next 3 years will be leap years, quantum leap years. And what does that mean? Well, that means we are about to see radical transformation on the planet. It's been long awaited and it is necessary, but it's not going to be without pain. It is going to mean times of great disruption. The way that people see reality will change. There are going to be world events and societal changes that could well be uncomfortable. One of the things that came through is that light energy is rising on the planet to a level not seen for around 10,000 years or possibly longer. Now, what does that mean? The light energy is infusing around the planet, which means that we have the opportunity to draw in that light, high frequency energy, which is a really good thing. It helps us to upscale from the density that is the low energies that have been around on the planet for a long time. Again, I've spoken about it a lot. The energies that create violence, greed, anger, hate, division, control. They're your dense energies, the fear-based energies, if you like. Fear is not a natural state of being. It's one that's been created by mankind. It is completely unnecessary. But to realize how unnecessary it is, we have to get in touch with who we are. And then what happens is that we enjoy life a lot more and we become totally fearless. And this is a journey that's waiting for all of us. It's fantastic. And to do that, you live in this life of love, of gratitude, of forgiveness, of understanding, of community, of joy, of laughter, of love, compassion, kindness, humility. So the way we treat other people is how we want ourselves to be treated. What we're going to see is going to be a rise in heart-based consciousness. And what does that mean? Well, that means that we get out of the mind and into the heart. You go with your guidance. This is where we receive guidance from our higher selves, because we are sat in this physical form. We have our life force energy, our electromagnetic energy that sits within this amazing physical vehicle that we travel in through life. But we also have a higher soul energy that is our higher self that does communicate with us, but the conscious mind switches off from that. And certainly in terms of the way that we have been programmed and conditioned through the westernized lifestyle in particular, is that we are the meat bag. This is us. We're going back to more heart-based consciousness. And how do we get there? Well, meditating is a great thing. We talk about this a lot. Jole puts out some fantastic guided meditations out there to help us to understand what we can do to help ourselves. And this is going to be part of these next few years. We are going to see some big cataclysmic events out there which are really going to shake our world. But we can come together, almost like a Dunkirk spirit type of thing will take over. You know, an act of kindness begets an act of kindness. This is why the frequency of the energies is set to rise, because we have this infusion of light that is there for any of us to use. We have to tap into it. We have to take time to go within. Now, there are a lot of people out there who live really good lives. I know plenty of examples myself of people who have no spirituality, no religious beliefs, and yet they're just very good citizens. They're very good people. They take care of people. They take care of their neighbors, their family, and they do it from, heart-based consciousness. Now, nobody needs to become spiritual. Nobody needs necessarily to sort of like go and start reading all the right books and everything. That is not about that. It is about treating everybody the way that you yourself would want to be treated. If you've got that as your foundation, then you really are on the right path. So, collective grief is a great transformer, is one of the other headlines that came through. And collective grief, this again talks to the fact that there will be some cataclysmic events that happen over these next few years. We're going to see a lot of the corruption rising to the surface, and it's going to become more evident of the things that have been going on around us for decades and perhaps centuries, where we've been controlled and manipulated, and no longer will we be able to put up with that. So this is part of our transformation. And human health could be a part of this as well, because again, we've been consuming a lot of things that are not good for us, a lot of processed foods, a lot of sugar, a lot of things that really do not serve us at all well. And this is another of the things that is going to come more to the surface and give us the chance to actually do something about this. Another headline was about the media. The media is slanted towards the negative, as we know. So you've only got to pick up a newspaper or watch the news. And as you know, one of the Elevated Planet's visions is to turn the negative media on its head, because there is so much good news in the world. There are so many positive things to share that do not get shared. So it's about time we actually turn that around. But the negative media has been feeding into the dense energies that have been circulating this planet. They've been putting people under stress, putting them into fear, creating the division. And it's not just the media, but also the politicians, who often are just looking after themselves by promoting fear in order for their population to actually look to vote them back in again, because they become the great protector for the issue that they probably created in the first place. We've seen it happen, and you don't really have to look too far across our respective countries to see examples of where that's happened in recent years. Looking forward, Elevated Planet is part of that change to promote the good news. And this is not burying your head in the sand. This is not ignoring the truth of what is going on in the world. But what is presented by the media is not the truth that goes on in the world. It is actually heavily slanted into the negative, and therefore it's an unbalanced way of looking at life and the planet around us. It is not representative of the truth, but we're going to represent the truth, and we're going to have a bit of fun along the way as well. And anybody in the community who wants to contribute into this as well, please feel free to do so. We crave and fear change in equal measure. People will feel the shock from the changes that are going to come through. And this is on a collective consciousness level and on a personal level. So Jolie and I had a fascinating reading, which we do on a weekly basis, where we reach out to the higher realms to ask questions. And this one was really fascinating, because the information that came through related to things that could well be world events that are coming up over this next year, 2 years, 3 years. And it could be part of what we've been talking about. The first thing that came through was cell phone energy and the damage that it is doing to the planet. It is really so much more than we realize at this particular point in time. Also, there was something interesting that came through about CERN. They have the largest energy particle accelerator on the planet, and it's buried 100 meters underground, somewhere on the Swiss-French border. It's to do with time travel as well. Now, time travel. Of course, most people do not believe that time travel exists, but it has existed, and it's existed since 1943, when the Philadelphia experiment took place, which again is well documented. They've made movies about it. Pretty grotesque, because they didn't know what they were messing with. And this is part of the problem for much of the scientific work that goes on out there. Scientists get excited about what they can discover, but they don't always know what the consequences of those actions are going to be. What was seen by Jolie was an enormous vortex of energy entering through into CERN, because they are messing around with time travel and trying to create a shortcut. But the energy that's being drawn in around that CERN laboratory was very concerning. It's because like this cell phone energy, life force energy, and various other things getting sucked in through this enormous vortex that is being drawn into planet Earth. Now, it could be to do with the particle accelerator. It could be something, it could be an experiment that is completely different. And certainly it does relate to time travel. Only the elite truly know what's going on at CERN. This could well be one of the events that we're going to see over these next few years that is going to start to unfold, where we realize that yet more damage has been done. It's not just the destruction of the Amazon rainforest, but we're also destroying the planet through these experiments as well. And for those of you who are interested in the concept of time travel, then I suggest The Music of Time by Preston B. Nichols. It's a fascinating book, and it does include a lot of detail about time travel and how it is actually part of reality these days, just not mainstream reality. Everything in life is supposed to be a balance, and this is what has been lost. You go back to those ancient tribes, and they used to live in harmony with the land, with their surroundings. And this is how things remain sustainable. I think that more of the ancient wisdom will come back to the forefront, and we will be able to rekindle a lot of those lost abilities and understand ourselves so much better. So 2022 through to 2024 are going to be tumultuous years. Things are going to change. But at the end of the day, we're going to come out better, we're going to come out stronger, and we're going to come out with a clear sense of who we are, and we can enjoy the celebration of life once more. We can live with a heart-based consciousness, and I'm so looking forward to this. This will shake our foundations. I think in the end, life is going to be so much better than it is today. So I do hope that you have enjoyed this Twiglet Zone, and I understand that this may be way too fantastical for many people to accept as reality. But what I do ask is that you lodge this in your mind so that when things start to unfold, you'll say, well, hang on a second, maybe I did hear about this somewhere. And this is where you heard it first. It was the Twiglet Zone. Fantastical stories accompanied by a savory snack. Lao Tzu, the Chinese philosopher. Lao Tzu, the Chinese philosopher. Lao Tzu, the Chinese philosopher, said, "New beginnings are often disguised as painful endings." I think this is a great quote to be mindful of as we go through the period between 2022 and 2024.